back, everyone, to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
And today we're here to remind you, if you have family members that you hate this holiday season, we could be your new family members.
Also, if you sit on the toilet backwards while you poop, you have a nice little table there for your comic books or any reading material. A classic chocolate milk, or X-Lax if you really need to clean out.
So you can hide away from mom and dad, go eat your food in the toilet, and shit on the toilet, and never have to leave until it's time to go home.
Yep, pretty much. Yes. Make sure to take your pants all the way off.
Yeah, that's the key thing. Take the pants off
all the way, or at least around one leg, so it's just kind of wrapped around.
Yeah, just don't be lazy about it. Take care of yourself.
Don't be weird.
Take care of yourself. So we're the final episode of the year. This is it. So, Ghouls and Gals, today we're going to give you some movie reviews about some movies with witches in them. We're going to be talking about some things we love and hate. And we actually got a shower thought that we're going to talk about as well.
Shower work thought.
Shower work. That's actually what we're going to call it now. Shower work thought, because Cody gets his conspiracy weird thoughts when he's working, and I get mine when I'm in the shower.
Yep, because I work in a kitchen 8 hours by myself. So
it's
a lot of alone time.
We can call it schwerk thought.
Schwerk.
Or wower.
I like wower. That's our wower thoughts.
It's our wower thoughts.
Because, there's at least one person that just goes, wow.
Wower.
Wow.
Or it's like a competition like, wow. Yeah, well, wower.
Wow west.
Wow-ing.
Wow D?
Wow lolly. And then that guy gets punched and beat up.
Yeah.
So yeah, should we just jump into something? Should we jump into the shower thought, or should we jump into the wower thought, or should we jump into something we love and hate?
Let's start off with the we love and hate. We actually haven't started right off with that in a while, and right. I feel like this is kind of a good one, a good segue.
Yeah. So, so what we're gonna do this time
is talk about what we hate first.
So we're gonna kind of talk about what we hate, and this isn't what we talk about. What we hate today isn't sponsored by anyone. This is just purely something that we both kind of hate, and it is literally the holiday season itself.
Yeah.
So we're both on the same page here. For me, let's do yours first, because I feel like mine's a little more heavy than yours.
Yeah. So I appreciate what the holiday season is supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean time with family, friends, showing your love and appreciation. But the thing that I hate the most about it is that it's a price tag now.
Yeah.
We talked about it on a couple episodes ago. I was really pissed off about how Christmas is invading October now.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
And I had on the huge chair they had.
Yeah, and it's the thing is Thanksgiving's yes, I know it's based off of a horrible thing that happened in our past, but
right.
But what it's supposed to mean nowadays is a time to sit down with all of your family. The one time of the year you're supposed to get together with all of your family and get past all your shit and just have a dinner.
Yeah.
Because no one does that. Ever throughout the entire year, but Thanksgiving was supposed to be about that, but now it's all Thanksgiving is the day before Black Friday, and again the giant price tag. Don't get me wrong, I've done Black Friday with my cousins, but that was the best part. It was with my cousins. It wasn't the stuff we were getting, the deals we were getting. Right. I was doing it with family, and that's the biggest thing that I hate about the holiday seasons, because everyone freaks out so much about oh, I need to get the new Xbox or the Switch or, right. PlayStation. And if I don't get it for this holiday season, it's the worst Christmas ever. And it's
And I would even add on, I think Black Friday itself is completely overhyped. I did Black Friday once, and I hated it. I was free. It was so, it was when the Xbox 360 was just came out.
When Black Friday was a horrible deal.
Yeah, and so Best Buy had this deal where you can go get the console almost next to nothing and get three free random games. Mm-hmm. And so I got there with my dad, and it was freezing. It was fucking freezing. And we were just sitting there, and I was starving because it was probably 1-2 in the morning at this point.
Yeah.
And this person comes around, I respect her because straight up hustle, but this person comes around and is giving burritos out, hot burritos. I'm oh my God, thank you. You are so kind. I reach out my hand and grab one, and she's that'll be $5. And I'm are you fucking kidding me? I was do you have a card reader or something? She's no, only cash. And I'm I'm so tempted to punch you in the tit right now. And then we got in there, I got the console, and I didn't even like any of the games. They gave, they gave me Command and Conquer 3, which it's a good game, but it's not up my alley. Ghost Recon, good game, not up my alley. And and then the last one they gave me is Wally. And I'm like,
Wally.
And I'm like, this was a bad deal. I should have not done this. And then
it's like I just hate myself now.
Yeah.
Again, but like that's the thing that I mean about the holiday season now. It's like, you got this like cool thing, but you're disappointed in it still. And it's like I feel like there's that underlying thing with the holiday season, especially for like just for parents in general. Like, they can't, if they can't get their kid this cool thing, like their kid's always like, there's all these like stereotypes and stuff where the kid's gonna throw a fit and stuff like that, but it's like that happens, and it's like, shut the fuck up, you little spoiled brat. Like, be happy you even got something. Like, this isn't even supposed to be a time about gift getting. Like, I always treated, like, especially once like I finally got into a decent financial state to where like I can actually buy gifts. Like, those have been my best Christmases, when I've been able to actually give someone something. And like, that's what it's supposed to be about, is the fact that you're giving someone a little bit of joy, and that they find joy in whatever you give them. Like, it doesn't have to be this big, extravagant, like, fucking 50-inch plasma TV or some shit. Like, if they don't get that from you, then you're a piece of shit. It's supposed to be like, hey, I was thinking of you, and I thought this would fit you perfectly. And it's like, that's what makes it happy, and that's gone. Like, it's gone from, like, the holiday season. It's not... And, like, all the fucking jewelry shit. It's like, well, if you don't get your woman diamonds, you're a piece of shit and just go do meth in the alleyway.
Diamonds aren't that rare of a stone. And and that's not a conspiracy theory. It's legitimate. Like, they're not that rare of a stone.
No.
We're just, here in the U.S. mainly, and probably other parts of the world, we're suckers for paying full price for it, because, like, even getting married, like, is marketed. Because, like, I don't remember who I was listening to or who I was talking to, but, like, even, like, the white dress wasn't a thing.
No.
Like, people just saw, us here saw over in the, I think it was, like, over in England or the UK, the queen, the princess, was wearing a white dress for her wedding, and so that kind of just like, oh, well, now that's a sign of, like... I want to
be a princess.
It's a sign of royalty. And then, like, diamonds, oh, that's, a sign of royalty, a sign of special, like, specialness. And, like, don't get me wrong, like... I think it's cool, like, when you're able to show that affection for your wife or your husband or your significant other and get them, like, a diamond ring, but to put all this, like, value that, like, that's your love for them makes no sense. Because here's the thing, you can't take that ring with you when you fucking die. You can be wearing it, but it ain't gonna mean shit.
Yeah, and so, like, because these past couple Christmases, like, once I moved out to Fort Collins, like, I didn't get big, like, yes, my mom would give me some gifts and stuff like that for Christmas, but I always felt bad because I couldn't get her anything. But, like, the thing was, like, when she stopped getting me, like, a lot of gifts and stuff, because she can't afford it. B, I'm an adult. Like, if I'm 9 times out of 10, if I see something I want, I'm gonna buy it myself. But, like, the things that I've liked the most is that every single Christmas I spent in Fort Collins, either my dad came up, or my mom and my stepdad came up, and they just had dinner with me, and we hung out like a family.
Like, that's what I do. I agree.
Like, nobody thinks about that anymore. It's like, I gotta get this gift, and it's like, just spend time with them. Like, that's what the holiday season is about, and I hate that that's not what it's about anymore.
Well, my parents, like, they're gonna have, like, a rough year this year for Christmas, and so I kind of made a deal with them. I was like, look, it means a lot to me when you guys buy us gifts, but, like, what if this year we don't do that? What if you guys just save your money and we come up there to the Springs and we just have dinner with you guys? You guys can get crab legs and you get, like, a steak for Lauren. All the reason to do that is because Lauren's allergic to shellfish. That's hilarious, actually.
So that's how I kill her.
Well, it's actually funny because, like, side story to that, like, the way we found out is, like, just one day, like, my parents came down, like, we were all going to go out to eat, and I was just like, how about we go to, like, Red Lobster? And Lauren's like, no, I don't want to go Red Lobster. And I'm like, why don't you ever want to go to Red Lobster? And she's like, because I'm actually allergic to shellfish. And I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, why do you think I never talked when we were at Joe's Crab Shack? I don't know, because I thought you had food in your mouth. And she's like, no, my throat was actually swelling up. I'm like, why didn't you ever say that you were allergic to shellfish? Why are you now saying this, like, to us? Like, we would have never gone to seafood restaurants if we knew you were allergic to shellfish. Like, in the 4.5 to 5 years me and her have been together, she's never told me she's been allergic to shellfish.
Yeah, that'd be something you should say, like, on a second date. Hey, by the way, don't give me a crab leg, I might die.
I mean, it was absolutely sweet of her to just like troop through it, but like.
Yeah.
Still. I didn't know you were stuffing. Like, I just felt bad because I'm just like stuffing my face in the crowd. And I'm like, that sure was great. Blah, blah, blah. We're here together. Laura's just like, I'm having a great time.
This is so much fun.
And I'm just like, she's just like suffocating right next to me, and I'm just stuffing my face.
Like, next thing you notice, she just falls over, and you're like, "What's going on, Laura?" As you spit more crab legs on her face.
Oh, she must be really full. Somebody's tuckered out.
You just hear,
oh, look at that! She's so happy. Like that's just how that happens, and
yep.
Yeah, but no, I feel you, man, because like Christmas, and I can only speak for Christmas because I can't speak for like Kwanzaa or Hanukkah, you know, and because I don't know if it's the same.
I think you're like the only person I've ever met that thought of Kwanzaa before Hanukkah.
Keep it real, we're punk rock.
What is Kwanzaa? I keep asking people, and no one fucking knows.
The basic way I understand it, and this is just how I understand it, is that it's the African American version of Christmas, and mixed in with Judaism. That's how I understand it, because there is actually like a legit lore and history to it, and we could get into that, but we don't have time for that today.
Okay.
But if any of our listeners out there do actually celebrate Kwanzaa, feel free to send us an email and include us into what your traditions are like, and we'll actually talk about it. Yeah, we're like,
I'm legitimately curious. I mean, of course, I could get off my fat ass and just look it up, but I'd rather someone tell me.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want us to just trust what Wikipedia says.
Yeah.
To be fair. But no, I think to add on to what you were talking about, the thing that I hate about the holidays, and this is going to be probably a little more sappy and deep, but basically... So I've made it known on here that I do, you know, suffer from depression and anxiety.
Yeah, we both do.
And yeah, I shouldn't say just we both.
No, it's fine. No one cares about Cody's feelings.
But in all seriousness, like this time of year is always kind of the hardest because it's everything can be going right, and like you could be having a good time, and like you got like a cool gift, and just like shit just is going right. But your depression kicks in so much hardcore, and it just kind of like, it sucks because you feel alone, and it feels like everything around you is kind of on fire, and you're just like coated in water, and you're waiting for the water to boil.
Yeah. Like,
and it just sucks, and like I feel bad because, you know, I see so many people who don't get to like have these big, huge like Christmas and like Thanksgiving celebrations, and they maybe just do it with their parents or do it by themselves, and I can feel for those people because it's like to feel lonely on the holidays is awful. It sucks. It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
And I just think that's just kind of what I hate is seeing people who just kind of like think that the holidays are all pure in happiness, and they are generally pure in happiness, but more often than not, there's people still suffering. And I think just kind of what I'm getting at is, you know, to any of our ghouls and gals out there who suffer with depression and anxiety, and this time of the year is the hardest for you, just know that you're not alone, and that you're not the only people that feel like the world around you's on fire. No. You know, we're right there with you, and we hope when you listen to this podcast and you listen to any of our episodes that we bring a little enjoyment to you this holiday season. So,
and as we said before on the podcast too, you guys are more than welcome to feel free to reach out to us too. Like, if you just, even if it's just like an email to the podcast, and you're like, hey, like, you know, I'm going through this hard time. Is it okay to like message one of you guys to talk about it? We'll more than likely be fine with that. Like, I think we're an outreach for that too.
I think the other better thing is that we'll even include in the episode notes to hotlines to help you. Mm-hmm. You know, because it's so you can keep it more anonymous and feel more safe with doing that if that's a route you want to do and take. And even if you just want to reach out to us and just let us know how we're helping you in any way, you know, it's. I think that's just kind of what we're getting at, is that we feel we're all coming from, and we're happy we are able to provide you with a tool that brings you a little more enjoyment and brightens up your days during this holiday season.
Yep.
But so yeah, we'll include in the episode notes a link to, because I don't want to say like suicide hotline, because I feel like that's narrowing it too much.
Yeah, just like a couple hotlines is more of just like it's an outreach.
Yeah.
For anything.
We'll include an outreach hotline for you in the episode notes. And again, that no one's like paying us to talk about this. No one's sponsoring us. This is literally just what we wanted to talk about. But going on to something that we love is actually, believe it or not, for the final episode for this year, is you listeners. No, literally, you make us happy.
Yeah. No, it is. And especially because like if it wasn't for all of you listeners, all you ghouls and gals, like listening to us and like even messaging us, giving us your stories and like just emailing us and saying you guys are doing a great job, like all of that stuff, it's just, if it wasn't for you guys, like we still wouldn't be doing this. You know? Like it helps encourage us to be better because we want to give you guys a better product. Like if it also wasn't for like getting all of you listeners and everything, like we would have probably never fixed our Patreon. Yeah, and
we would have never gotten serious about fixing up our website.
No, we never would have gotten serious about getting guest stars, the band stuff, like interviews and stuff like that. Like if it wasn't for you listeners, there's no way we would have had the drive to do all that.
Well, because every time we do research for an episode or bring a band on, we always think from your perspective out there listening, like what do you want to hear, what do you want to listen, and also what do we want to do?
Well, I think I'm gonna say not so much on that. I feel like it's kind of like, what would we laugh at? And I'm sure there's someone out there that's gonna laugh at it too.
And generally, you amazing people do enjoy what we're throwing out there. Yeah, and so I mean. Yeah, we're like now have 8 ratings on iTunes and are still like 5 stars. I can't read all the ratings. For some reason, I can only read like 4 ratings, and I can't read the other.
They just gave us stars. That's all.
Maybe. I mean, I guess that's true. I guess they could just give stars. They don't have to write a review. But I do kind of want to like give like a fun challenge to all of our listeners. If you want to, so here's the fun challenge. I'm going to encourage you to give us 5 stars on iTunes if you listen to us on iTunes, but if you want to say something nice to us, feel free to, but I'm going to challenge you guys to somehow burn us. And if you give us a good burn within a review, and you give us 5 stars, we'll read it on the podcast.
You're just still hung up on the Eminem diss, aren't you? You really want like Eminem to like, all of a sudden he's listening to this and he's like, fucking challenge accepted, dude.
I mean, if that was the case, yes, but I more so figure it was like, fuck waiting for Eminem, let's have our listeners burn us. Let's put it in their hands. I always talk about like how we need to criticize the things we love. Well, listeners, criticize us. Give us some good burns. So we'll read on. But
unless it's about ducks.
But again, the only way we're going to read it is if you make it a 5-star.
Yep.
So give us a 5-star rating, include a nice burn in there, and we'll read it. Unfiltered, unedited on this podcast. Unless there's like a racist term in there. So maybe not that guy.
So help me God.
That's actually really funny because like I will. So on like the Dude Comedy podcast, like I don't remember what episode it was, but they were pushing for like reviews as well, like 5-star reviews, and so like their listeners started to fuck with them. So like one of the hosts on there, Jimmy, like he's where is he? He's from a southern state. I don't remember where, but. So like there was this ongoing joke where one of the other co-hosts Burns kept like basically insinuating that he was a stereotypical like southern racist. Yeah. And so like someone actually wrote in a review and like made their name so like Jimmy would say the N-word without knowing it. I don't remember what the name was, but it was so damn funny because like he read the entire name live and didn't even realize what he said. And like it's so funny because the other 3 co-hosts were laughing their asses off, and he's like, "What? Did I mess up a word? What?" And they're just like, "You fucking said the N-word." I don't remember what the name was, but it was really fucking funny. Like I was just like, "Oh my god, that's brilliant." So, anyways, I don't know. Maybe if somebody wants to do that to us, it'd be pretty funny. Knowing our luck, I'd probably be the one that fuck it up.
I know. You instead of Mr. A Figgy.
Oh my god. Someone needs to send in with their name being it's effigy or not a figgy. Or just A-F-I-G-G-Y. A dash like F-I-G-G-Y.
Figgy.
figure yourself. But yeah, thank you, listeners, for continuing to be awesome, continuing to be an amazing group. I mean, it's because of you guys that like people like Drew Edwards wants to come back on here multiple times because you guys made his sales spike. You guys bought Halloween Man comics, and
I still need to pick myself up a copy. I've been wanting to pick one up so bad.
You get them for a good deal at Comixology right now.
Yeah, I want to check it out because like I looked at a lot of their art and stuff, and it looks good.
For me, it's like I want to have both the physical copy because like the comic book nerd in me like has to have like that physical copy, but I also want the digital copy because it's like I don't have to open up the physical copy. I can just keep it in good condition. I can just read the digital copy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because we're nerds.
Yeah, we're nerds. The other nerds out there get it. They get it.
Yeah. And also, like, if it wasn't for you listeners, we also wouldn't have had Erin as a returning guest, like, and co-host, when she helps us out and stuff like that. Like,
right.
I mean, as much as, like, she probably would still like to come out, but nowhere near as much as often if, like, just because, like, she also wants to put out good content with us for you listeners. Like,
yeah.
So,
I mean, that's
like,
why she did such a sensual intro.
The last one. And, like, always lets us, like, be extra mean to her on here. Mostly me.
Look, I believe in same-sex opportunities. If I'm going to be the same way with a dude, I'm going to be the same way with a chick.
Me too.
So, not saying, like, I'm not going to, like, even though I don't, like, punch dudes' arms as is, I'm not going to punch a chick's arm either.
No, and also, like, because of you listeners, like, we've gotten so many bands.
Yeah.
And we got to do the interview with Colorado Punk Rock Army.
Yeah, and that was a blast. They were so cool.
They were awesome.
Which by the time that this is coming out, let me look at the calendar because I don't know if this is going to be before. I don't know.
I don't know. I'd say either way, but like if it wasn't
so this is gonna by the time this comes out, it will already passed. But to any of you guys who went out there and supported Skanksgiving here in Denver and up to Colorado Punk Rock Army, thank you for doing that. Seriously.
Yeah, and but yeah, like we wouldn't have gotten all these great interviews.
Yeah,
like if it wasn't for you listeners, like keep on, like always keep tuning in to us and stuff like that and listening to us, like
because these people that come on, they like to talk to us and we entertain them and we help them out and support them, but it comes down to you listeners who really sell their product and really sell what they're doing and like get them more notice because we can put it out there on Facebook and we put it out there on Twitter and our Instagrams and our website and we're in everywhere, but it's when you listeners like dive into it and like follow through on these links that we give you guys, and we follow through, and you follow through on these creations, and you really dive into it and buy it and support it. You guys are the ones that are making it happen. You are the ones that are making it. Make a thing out of it. You're making it a for sure thing to be proud of because they're proud of it, you're proud of it, and we're all happy that it's horror.
Yeah.
Thank you to like 12 Nights of Horror and.
We're doing a very long intro of being sappy.
This is our last episode for the year.
I know. I'm just saying, like we're being very sappy for a very long time.
We're dicks most of the time. So we can
show a little ankle every now and then.
Yeah, we can let our hearts bleed just a little bit for the listeners. No, it's not completely cold and dead. And so I mean, it's just a really rad thing. And again, thank you to CPRA for coming on here, to Phil, Andy, and Walla. I can't wait to get them back on and just talk.
Yeah, and talk about more punk shows and stuff like that.
Yeah,
hopefully, like punk shows that we can even go to.
Yeah, like, and thank you to all of our recent bands: Bury Mia, Last Real Hero, Mixed Kid Fridays, Chiaroscuro. I'm so sorry. That
was a weird.
Well, because I was channeling my inner Derek Zoolander.
And I was like,
man. Because I'm trying not to cough really loud because I don't want the mic to pick it up and just like make someone's ears bleed out. But also thank you to Taking Alpha as well for coming on the podcast.
And I also want to throw a shout out and thank you to Dan Connor and Patricia. Yeah, for coming on our podcast, doing our first like literary like breaking our. That was like the first episode where we kind of broke our boundary of like not just horror movies. Yeah, that was our first episode talking about comics and just literary parts in general because we talked about regular books and like big shout out to them. big shout out to Brandon and Marsha for letting us do our live show at Life of the Party, and to David and Mel who sat in through our episodes. Like David had a blast, and he'd like to come back on and talk shit with us.
And I mean, there's so many more people to thank, but I think the last thing we need to do, and then jump into what we're doing, or at least jump into our wower thought.
Yeah.
Is the next and the final person that we owe big thanks to is Anna.
Yeah.
So we tell her thank you all the time off recording, but we want to do it too on recording. We want to give a big, huge thanks to Anna for, coming on the team and helping us get so many things done that we want to get done. And also another big thank you to Megan, our artist, who on our end, and it's our fault, we haven't talked about her as much as we should have.
Yeah.
And there's no real reason for that. It's just poor planning on our end, honestly. Megan, she has such an amazing catalog of artwork on DeviantArt.
Yeah. And
the link to her DeviantArt is in all of our episode notes. It's right there at the bottom, so it's easy to find. And she does such amazing work, and she's such an unbelievably talented artist. And we've been so lucky to work with her, and we've been so lucky that she's done our artwork, the artwork that you're looking at right now when playing this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know, like, normally people don't like to, oh my god, I can't even think of the word right now. But, like, pick special listeners and stuff like that. Two people I actually really think we both need to throw out huge shout-outs to is Dev and Lauren.
Yeah.
Like, your wife and my girlfriend, like, they've been so supportive of us with this and dealing with all our crazy shit and each other's crazy shit. And, like, just being, like, it's okay, like, the sacrifices we've had to make sure these podcasts happen, sacrificing, like, the only times me and Dev can, like, have just me and her time without the kiddo, or, she understands. And then same with you and Lauren, like, having to sacrifice your anniversary and date nights, just so we can get this podcast going and keep giving you guys content. I just want to throw a huge shout out and thank you to you,
I completely agree. I mean, there's nights here where I'll be, like, just editing and trying to just get this content out on time, and it'll be taking me like 2 to 3 hours to get everything done, because I don't just do one episode at a time. I do 2, sometimes 3 at a time, and I just have shitty connection over here, and she'll just be cooking and, like, cleaning and taking care of Aaron while I'm just trying to focus on this. And she's seriously like a Wonder Woman in her own right, because she knows I have to get it done. And she just takes up the mantle. She's like, okay, I'm gonna get shit done around here. You just focus on that. And, like, that's beyond supportive, because she can easily just say tough shit, like, you're gonna have to figure it out. And she doesn't. She's absolutely sweet and kind about it. And she's so supportive of me, and she's so supportive of the podcast and Cody. And so, thank you to our significant others. Thank you to putting up with us and dealing with our crazy hectic schedule and making sacrifices for us.
Yep.
You two are amazing, and we're about half an hour in. How do you feel about doing your wower thought after we do our reviews?
No, I'm doing it now, because I will forget about it.
I won't forget about it.
Yeah, but it's my wower thought,
and I'll remind you.
Let me have my wower thought.
I wanted to give you wower thought, but I'm sure our listeners are just like, okay, cut it with the sappy shit. Let's do reviews.
Oh my god, but it's not even a sappy wower thought.
No, I know it's not a sappy wower thought. But that's what I'm saying. Like, they're like, stop it, cut the fat, and just jump into our review. But then again, maybe they like the fat. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because no one ever tells us.
Tell us if you like our fat. I don't know, man. What do you think?
I want to do my wower thought. You're the only one that's fighting this right now.
Well, because I know you want to get up to Fort Collins on time, and I'm trying to work with that.
Either way, it's going to be the same exact amount of time. It's whether we want to do the movie review right now and take up that time, and then my wower thought's going to take up that time. It's going to be the same exact amount of time whether we do the wower thought now or the movie reviews.
Okay, fine. Just do your wower thought.
Thank you.
God, I'm just trying.
Jeez.
I'm just trying.
There's no helping of that. Anyways, my wower thought is that. Okay, so George R.R. Martin,
right?
The writer of the Game of Thrones books and everything. So there's this long running joke that he is going to die before he finishes the books.
I also call him Dick Tease McGee.
Yeah, a lot of floppy dicks.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Anyways, so he has, so everyone's like, freaking out, like, especially the hardcore book lovers of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Or like, he's gonna fucking kill over before he finishes the series, because I think he still needs to release 2 more books for the ending.
Yeah,
it's like 1 or 2.
I thought it was 1. Who cares?
But anyway, so the final season, because the final season of the TV show is coming, but it's differentiated so much from the books. Like, you know, the book readers are like, I want the book ending. Like, I need this.
Yeah.
And I need that closure.
Right.
And so I kind of and I was thinking, like, for whatever reason, that made me think of Dan Harmon, the creator of Rick and Morty. And so I've gone on so many tirades and rants about the fucking Rick and Morty fan base so much. And like, I mean, I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan. I'm wearing a Rick and Morty hoodie right now.
Yeah.
I have my Mr. Meeseeks hat. I have a Rick hat at home. Like Dev's mom got me Rick and Morty socks. Like, I love Rick and Morty. And so, but like, I'm also one of those fans where it's like, if a season 4 was never going to come out, as much as that would suck, whatever. I got 3 great seasons of a show that I love, and I can binge watch them on Hulu. Like, that's enough closure for me. Like, I understand, like, Dan Harmon, because like we went on. I talked about the whole like tweet that Dan Harmon got from a bunch of fans saying like, "Get off your fat ass, you drunk lazy piece of shit," and finish season 4. And he's like, I haven't gotten a deal yet to make season 4. Like, you know, like because no one understands the workings of a TV series.
Business? What's that?
Yeah, I was like, oh wait, you need to have a channel to show your show? What's that about? Like, you know, stuff like that. And so, I'm not 100% certain. I know, like, some people, like, or a couple people have told me that it was on the show, but I'm still leaning towards it might be in the comics. But there's this rant that Rick goes on about closure,
right?
And how like, fairly certain it's to Jerry, it could have been to Morty, but one of them's freaking out about closure, and like, they need the closure of something, because like, there's no point in life if you can't get that closure in the satisfaction of it. And Rick just straight up goes, there's no true closure in life. The only true closure you'll ever get is from death, because then you're dead. Is like basically like the rough estimate about it. And so I was totally thinking to myself about the Game of Thrones thing, and then Dan Harmon was like, he hates 90% of his fan base, and like, he's gone on record that he does not like his fan base because they're all those people. You know,
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't like 90%. And then this tweet came. I just remember this meme that was like, 90% of Rick and Morty fans think they're Ricks, but in reality they're Jerrys.
Right. You talked about it.
I talked about that one. So I was like thinking the most, I guess, quote unquote, Rick thing that Dan Harmon can do, because he's Rick. It's his show. Is just right before the final season, because he got signed on to do 70 episodes. Yeah. So basically, like 6 to 7 more seasons, maybe 8, you know, of Rick and Morty. So he'll get to season 10 or 11.
Right.
Is like what the thing is. I could totally see Dan Harmon, final season, right before the final season's about to be released, he cancels it.
Yeah.
Just straight up. No final season. The last season, that was the final season. That's it. That's all you get. And it's like, and it ends on this like huge cliffhanger where you want to see the next season for the closure and everything. It's just like, no.
But it would be the ultimate meta thing to do.
The ultimate meta thing to do about closure, because it's true. You'll never have true closure in life, because there's always something that you feel like you need to have closure on until you're dead, because then you're dead and it doesn't matter. And then he'll get harassed by all those Twitter piece of shit motherfuckers, and he'll straight up show that meme of like, haha, Jerry, because they're the ones that are freaking out about closure. But hard, like, in my opinion, like the real Rick and Morty fans, I hate using that term, just like real gamer, real, you know, blah blah blah.
Right, but like,
real Rick and Morty fans
divided it up. Like,
yeah, but like the fandom that are actually Ricks would be like, touche, that's good. It's pretty good.
Smart.
Well, I'm gonna go watch South Park now. Like, that's exactly how it would end. And I think that I hope that happens. I truly hope it happens.
Right. No,
I think it'd be the
agree.
greatest thing ever, because I could see all my friends, like all like Rick and Morty fans on my friends list, like flipping the fuck out, except for 2. Only 2 of my friends wouldn't freak out about it, and they'd be like, yeah. Well, like the ones that, you and Austin would basically be the ones that wouldn't freak out about it, and you both would just be like, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, solid.
He sucks. With the theme. Yeah. He's like, it sucks, but whatever.
I'd rather it end like that than continue on like Simpsons or Family Guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And I understand there's still not the same like humor and whatnot, but still, I would hate for them to always like,
well,
and it's a new adventure they're into this week, and it's like season 13 of Rick and Morty. That would get exhausting.
Oh, I know, especially with like the humor that's in Rick and Morty. Like, there really is only so far that can go.
It's well written humor, but yeah, even that has a limit. And that's not saying like they're not creative enough. It's just
no, I mean his Community was great, and then I mean it's like you can almost argue that it can because of South Park.
Yeah,
but
even Matt and Shrey don't want to keep doing it.
No, that's why this whole entire season's hashtag cancel South Park.
Yeah. All right, man.
But all right, let's do our movie reviews.
Yeah, let's jump into it. So we're now 35 minutes in. We're still going to give you guys solid movie reviews. Thank you for letting us through all that fat. I do want to throw out one more thank you because we did forget to actually thank Chris and Dave, the actors from Camp Death 3 and 2D, for coming on the podcast. They were great and they were awesome to talk to. Thank you for you two coming on and for talking to us, and talking to me because Cody wasn't able to be there. But thank you for talking and just hanging out with us, Dave and Chris. Going forward though, so do you want to do your movie first, or do you want to do mine?
You know he's gonna flush, right?
Harrison, don't flush. Harrison's gonna be in the toilet, guys. I'm sorry.
It wouldn't be a punk rock episode without Harrison.
If you're gonna flush, at least have the fan on and close the door, please.
Okay. You son of a bitch.
Like Harrison's just like. Okay. But who did? No, you did yours last, so you go first.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
I'll just go. It doesn't matter. Like, no one cares about Cody's feelings.
I do care about your feelings. That's why I'm having you go first.
So I did my movie review on They're Watching. Sorry, I keep saying waiting, but it's They're Watching. The renovation of an old house in a village somewhere in Eastern Europe will bring the crew of an American home improvement TV show up against superstitions, misunderstandings, and bloody violence. It's directed by Jay Lender and Micah Wright, written by Micah Wright and Jay Lender. Stars Mia Marcone, Chris Lemche, and David Alpay. And it makes sense why it would be under comedy. Right. It just kind of dawned on me. I didn't think it was a bad movie. Like, it was pretty good. And like, the one thing, like a thing they did in the movie, like, it almost bugged me, but at the same time, like, I mean, it didn't make sense. This is actually one of my cons. It shows the ending in the beginning.
I was gonna say maybe it would help to talk about the setup of the movie first.
No, I just wanted to say that.
Okay, first. Go for it.
This is my review. Dude, okay. No one fucking cares about how Cody feels.
If it's not the wower, it's this.
So the setup is pretty good. So when they one thing that they do definitely have throughout the entire movie is it's a creepy atmosphere. Even though there's like the stereotypical like people, there's the new hot blonde ditzy camera girl,
very stereotypical
who's like it's very stereotypical characters who like got everything handed to her because her uncle's rich. There's like the one of the camera guys is like he was in Afghanistan as a cameraman for a thing, and he has a dark secret past that
of course
he never wants to talk about. Then there's the douchebag ladies man who likes to crack all the jokes and stuff like that. That fucking son of a bitch.
If they might not have heard it. If they heard it, then oh my god,
Jesus. And then of course the super cunt for a boss.
Yeah.
And then the local like sleazebag that helps him out with everything, even though he was my favorite character. I just thought he was funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
enough.
like. It's all of them. They, find out secrets about the town that they weren't supposed to know because they're foreigners. But like, so you're following them around, and it's a first person found footage style movie, movie, and it makes sense. It actually made sense why they had all the cameras and stuff, and it actually makes sense like at points where they never do that thing where they drop the camera and go back for it.
Yeah.
Like, because they always have a camera taped to them. Like, there's two parts in the movie where they tape a camera to them so they don't have to worry about it. Yeah. And I was like, all right, makes sense. They finally, like...
Yeah, and we've talked about that when, like, they go back for the camera and they're just being idiots or, like, don't things, shit like that.
And that was never a thing in this movie. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, they actually made sense of why they would always have a camera on. And they even, like, touch on, like, why the fuck are you still filming? Why are you filming? But one of the characters is always saying, we have to film everything.
Yeah.
Like, he makes it a point. You have to film everything. Like, everything that happens in this movie.
Right.
But, like, the creepy atmosphere while you're following these guys, because there's really funny moments, and, like, there are moments, like, it actually kind of, like, builds up the characters for you to care about them and stuff, because, you know, sometimes they don't give, like, enough, like, backstory on them, or, like, you know, they don't get enough, like, actual, like, screen time where they're, like, being friends and stuff like that, or showing, like, emotion and stuff. And, like, it actually kind of makes you care about the characters, which I really appreciated. But, like, throughout the entire movie, they're always being stared at. Like, there's always someone staring at them throughout the entire movie. And so I thought that was actually a really cool touch, because, like, so usually in those kind of movies, like, they just kind of, like, look at it. Like, there's always one person that just kind of somewhat stares at them. Or it's, like, every other scene, there's, like, some person in the background, but it's like everyone in the town is always staring at them, and I thought that was kind of cool, and it made sense, you know, the movie's called They're Watching. Oh, ho, ho, ho. But, like, one of my cons, so when the blood and gore starts happening, like, it's rough. The CG's pretty rough in this movie, and you can definitely tell it's supposed to be a B movie, and in majority of B movie-esque movies, the CG's rough, and, like, the CG was really rough, especially near the end. With some things. Just keep walking, Harrison. Keep walking. Go sit down. But yeah, the CG's actually pretty rough in the movie at the end. Another con I kind of have is, like, some of the acting was starting to get a little overzealous, a little ridiculous. And it's also, I felt like it was too slow of a burn. Because, like, I do appreciate movies that have a slow burn. Like, don't get me wrong, like, where it's, like, throughout the whole thing, like, there's a slow burn for it. But, like, the burn in this movie was kind of, like, I'd feel like they didn't give enough hints to, like, what was going on for the twist ending to happen. And you could kind of see it. Like, there's a couple scenes where, like, it drops hints of what's going to happen in the end. And, like, you kind of appreciate it at the same time. Because you're, like, if you're keen moviegoer who likes to, like, you know, eagle-eyed moviegoer that likes to catch every little thing that could possibly, like, show the ending and stuff, or, like, give spoilers or hints to a twist, like, you kind of, like, there's a couple moments of that. One of them's very upfront. Like, if you're not, like, I don't know how other people are when they watch movies, but I tend to look at the faces and watch the faces of the actors and stuff, because I want to see, you know, their reactions and stuff.
The hidden details.
Yeah. If you actually don't follow that, don't do that, there's, like, one really big hint of what's going to happen in the end that's, like, really up front. But other than that, like, it was a solid watch. It's definitely a good popcorn flick. I would recommend it, especially if you want, because, like, I couldn't find a whole lot of witch movies that were actually horror, where the witch was the main bad guy, except for, you know, the Vivitch. Or The Craft, which that was already going to do. So, but, like, yeah, I couldn't find a whole lot of movies, and I'm actually kind of glad I found this one, and it was really good. So I highly recommend it. Another pro I had was, like, there's this scene where they're in a bar and they're all getting really shit-faced, and, like, one of the things I thought was really funny is, like, even though they've been stared at and kind of made out to be bad guys to the entire town, they're just like, you know what, fuck it, I know how we're gonna mend everything. Let's get shit-faced with the town, and they all start getting drunk and start buying shots of vodka for everybody in the town. And it's like really fun moment, a really fun scene. But like I said, my other biggest con, like I've said, the slow burn was. But, like, the other thing that I didn't like when it came to the slow burn was just, like, the things that were leading up to the burn. I can't remember if I actually said this. I might be repeating myself, but, like, is that the scenes that are hinting to the burn. So, like, you know, because, like, the whole thing is that there was a witch that was burned at the stake in the town 100 years prior. And the things, but, like, they never give real hints to that until they're all finally shit-faced, and the Russian dude that's with them, like, tells them the story. But, like, there's, like, a scene in a church for a funeral, and you're supposed to be like, oh shit, like, what's going on? Like, they even talk about, like, I'm uncomfortable here and stuff, and it's just like, I don't know. To me, like, I felt like there wasn't enough information given about the town to give the slow burn
Yeah.
enough of like a justification.
I mean, it's like kind of what you said. It's like this movie's like definitely kind of an homage to the Blair Witch Project in a way, and it really is because it definitely goes along like that same blueprint. Because I did watch a bit of it with you. Do you want me to add a con to your cons, or can I add a con to your cons?
What?
So one thing I felt was a con was like near the end, where one of like the protagonists like is told to keep filming, and so he looks in the camera and says, "How am I gonna explain this?"
Like, oh yeah, how am I gonna explain this to Wallace?
I mean that was perfectly B movie, but I also like hated it at the same time because I'm like, did you need to look into the camera to do that? Because like one of the villains like looks at him and is like, I want you to tell people about this, right?
Yeah.
And so like
the witch.
And so like I just have this image of like the witch staring at him as he's looking in the camera and he's just like, how am I going to explain this? And she's like, okay, weirdo. It's just I'm gonna make that a con for me.
Fair enough.
So because I hate it when characters do that, like they look into the camera to talk to it. Like I get if it's like a scene where it's like, oh, I'm about to die, I'm saying this to my loved ones. Like I get that, but it's just like, how am I gonna explain this?
Yeah, I did find that like pretty.
That was just kind of dumb.
Yeah,
but still solid nonetheless. Like this is probably one of the better and I would agree with you. It's like a better like B movie with witches in it.
Yeah,
like
because like I said, we actually kind of had problems like especially trying to find like a little more like underground movies and stuff like that had witches in them,
right?
Like as the main protagonist.
Yeah,
so I was just like,
or just an influence in it and all. I mean, when I thought of because when I thought of doing that, I thought it would be a good one, but it didn't. I don't feel like it really lined up with witches. Was oh my god, I can't remember now. I just had it, but it was basically an underground film where it was this woman who like is like a snake demon and like no, it's not Hiss. This is a different one. This is like also kind of like filmed first person as well.
Oh, is it the disappearance of what was her name?
Oh, maybe. I don't know, but like there's a scene where like her jaw's like expanded and she's trying to eat someone.
Yeah, that's the disappearance of like Eleanor or something like that.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. That's more of a possession movie.
Yeah, but going off what you're saying is like, because it's either there's not really solid underground ones or there's ones that everyone knows about,
like The Craft.
Yeah. So, but anyways, trivia. Yeah.
So some trivia on this. The music scene in the restaurant is real. And I said that was one of my favorite scenes. The actors are actually playing the instruments and the audio is recorded live, which is rare for a full-length film. Typically, actors mime their performance and the audio is recorded in a studio. That's actually pretty cool. Diona is a Romanian musical style and a candy bar. That's really important because like that's like a thing throughout the entire movie. One of the characters is like obsessed with this candy bar.
Yeah.
And then writers describe this film as a workplace comedy that goes horribly wrong, not a horror movie.
Well, guess what? Your podcast you're on. Oh, suck it, nerds.
And then it's Doina is how it's pronounced. Doina is most definitely a candy bar as well and actually doesn't taste half bad.
My Doina. Can I give one?
Sure.
So I find it funny that the audio after the credits says "Eat your goat dick" and shut up.
Yeah, like there has nothing to do with goat in the entire movie.
I mean,
I guess
like you can make like a correlation of like goat's head, Satan, witchcraft associated with Satanism. Sometimes I don't know. Yeah. It's probably just like an offline that they.
You're overreaching now.
I get. Yeah, I'm totally overreaching.
All right. Your movie.
So, like we were talking about, like my original movie I was thinking of doing was The Witch, but I was like, or The Vivitch.
The Vivitch.
But because I already talked about like why I like that movie on our Monday episode, but I'm just like I feel like that one's still fairly well known. But I feel like there's one witch movie that almost no one ever brings up and like talks about their love for horror unless they are a Wiccan, and that's The Craft. I decided to do my review on The Craft because I feel like this movie is popular in certain circles, but doesn't get as much attention as it needs. So, The Craft is directed by Andrew Fleming, written by Peter Filardi, and a screenplay written by Peter Filardi. And stars Robin Tooney, Fairuza Balk, and Neve Campbell.
Neve
Campbell came out in 1996, and its synopsis is: a newcomer to a Catholic prep high school falls in love with a trio of outcast teenage girls who practice witchcraft, and they all soon conjure up various spells and curses against those who anger them.
God, this sounds like a totally 90s movie, too.
My God.
I know it is. I'm 96.
Yeah.
But, like...
Right. It's
so
smack dab in the middle.
Like, that's one of my favorite things to do is go back and watch, like, those old 90s horror movies that we used to love as kids.
You know what makes it a 90s movie when it's a 90s movie? If there's some sort of, like, weird grunge or rock song playing in the intro.
Jigsaw time!
And I will...
With arms wide open.
Not gonna lie, some of them are pretty cool, because I actually like that band, like, Electricity. I think it's Electricity, and, like, they actually play the opening song in, like, Titan AE, where he's, like, doing, like, welding that part of his spaceship.
Yeah!
And I was like, a cosmic castaway, yeah! And I'm like... God, this is actually really catchy.
Dude, I love going back watching 90s movies. They're so great. It's like whenever we actually do a 90s movie on here, I'm just like, my childhood.
I know, it's like we're not going to get Shaq doing a rap anymore.
You know what? We could always do Shaq Fu on here.
Somehow.
Somehow we'll get Shazam. What is it? Yeah, is it Shazam?
Shazam's a genie. We could somehow make that work.
Yeah, or Steel. Okay, we do have to do Spawn on here sometime. The good 90s Spawn.
Oh, that one's gonna be probably our more challenging one because so many people hate that one too. And
I love that movie.
I do too, but I understand all the reasons why it's hated at the same time. And so, like, because there's solid reasons, but like.
Yeah, my biggest thing why I hate that movie so much, like, one of my biggest cons with it, like, I don't hate that movie so much, but I see why, is the fact that he has this badass mask. And they just have not Jai Courtney, but like they just have him always remove his mask and show his burnt ass face. It's like because not even showing the actor's real face.
Well, because like the mainstay of the character is Spawn's mask.
I know. It's like just keep the mask.
But I mean, it's also kind of cool that they showed his face because in the comics he does get a lot of like actual FaceTime of his face too. But anyways, that's Spawn. So anyways, The Craft. So we obviously kind of talked about it, but I made it a pro. But it's actually got a great 90s opening, like, intro.
Some
like
punk band, like,
it's totally, like, some sort of, like, grunge, like, new wave. No, I won't want to say new wave, but, like, some
pop
sort
punk.
of grunge. No, it's definitely not pop punk. It's, like, a grunge band. It's that epitome, like, the epitome of, like, a 90s movie intro where it's, like, panned... pan shot in the clouds, and it's like, The Craft! And then, like, it has, like, the grunge music. I'm like, the darkness inside of me, it fills me with rage, it keeps me in love, no one understands me. Kind of, that's not the actual lyrics, but that's like
I mean, it should be.
It should be. You're welcome. The Craft, 1996, that you didn't to give me royalties for.
Because we were 4, 5. We were both 5, 6.
Right. No, I was 5.
Yeah, I was 5.
Yeah, so we were probably the same age when it came out. Anyway, but still, just has that great 90s feeling intro. Just like, this is a 90s film. This is a 90s fucking film, and it's nice. You know me, I'm obviously gonna love a dope looking like scenery when I actually see one, or like set piece. So the protagonist's house in this is actually completely badass because like it's set in California, and so like obviously,
of course it's in California,
right? Well, and then obviously in California they have a lot of houses that are built on hills for a lot more higher income people, I think, right? And so, well, not even just that. Actually, there are houses that are even like mid income and lower that are built on hills.
Yeah.
So, but
sorry,
this house,
I'm just gonna interrupt you if that's about Duke.
What?
Like one of his eyes is really red and the other one's fine.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I was like, yes, pink eye.
He's so high.
Just half his face.
Yeah, no, that actually does happen. It's just part of his charm.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, he's cool. If he was bleeding from the eye, then it'd be like Satan dog. But no, I wouldn't do that.
No wonder you're so thick.
But so the protagonist's house is badass. It's built into the side of a hill, and it's definitely looks like one of these houses that a famous painter would make an homage to. Like it looks like straight out of a vineyard, nice like archway. You know what's kind of color I'd give it? I get like maybe like a tan or like a kind of tan colored house. Like it's cool. It's a dope house. Khaki. Yeah, khaki. Kind of like a khaki color. I liked it. It was really cool. And then another pro is that so every character in this movie sticks out in their own way. Like Neve Campbell becomes like the hot chick. You know, our main protagonist, she's the new chick that's like kind of a threat to the queen bee, and then you have our outcast chick who wears overalls, who, you know, just she's basically like, her whole thing is that people are racist towards her. And I'll get to that in a second. But the one person I do want to pick out mostly is Fairuza Balk. We've talked about it. Aaron talked about it on Monday. Fairuza Balk is a hidden gem of an actress and just a talent. Like, I mean, it's Fairuza Balk. She's got blue piercing eyes. She's got such a method to every character she plays that just like comes off the screen. Whether she's, you know, the crazy but sweet girlfriend in well, what is it? Like in the Adam Sandler movie, Waterboy.
Oh, Waterboy. Yeah. I love her.
Or Alice in Alice Returns. I think it's like Alice Returns to like Wonderland or something like that. It's Fairuza Balk, and she does a great job being Fairuza Balk, and I love.
I used to have the biggest crush on her too.
Who did it?
Like,
Who did?
Those eyes. I was just like, ugh.
Who wasn't a metalhead and or a punk rocker and had a crush on Fairuza Balk, right?
Right.
Like, she's great. She's fantastic. And then so another thing I want to throw out a pro is that in a lot of like movies like this where like there's someone who has like hidden witch powers that they don't know about, there's always talks of like a balance, right? Like balance with nature, and like the forces it provides. And so the way they always test this in types of movies like this is that they'll like balance a pencil on something. So like in the 2006 movie The Woods, they do a similar thing where our protagonist balances a pencil on a desk. So in this movie, our protagonist balances a pencil on a desk, thus like we're referencing like the perfect balance basically. And so like I just thought that was really cool because that's like tapping into I don't want to say lore, but like the pillars of witchcraft and the Wiccan religion.
Yeah.
So and going forward, I also like that that they delve into every character and they kind of make you care about each one without making you just care about the main protagonist. So like again, going back to our character, what's her name? I actually got to look up the character's name really quick so I get it right. So Rachel True's character Rachel. So they tap into the fact that like she, you know, Christine Taylor's character Laura is racist towards her. You know, she calls her a negroid, and like it's super like offensive, and that's the point. Like it's supposed to be. She's making the point that Laura hates Rochelle because of her skin color.
Yeah. And
so they kind of delve into like Rochelle's in this world where she only finds, you know, inclusion with these girls, and then going with Neve Campbell's character Bonnie, I think she has just like a burn mark on her back, or it's like a birth, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a really bad scarred burn mark on her back.
Yeah.
So she has very bad self-esteem issues and like feels unattractive and ugly, right? And so they do a spell where eventually she, you know, like gets rid of the burn mark, and she like comes into like class next day with like a push-up bra, bouncing all like she's like, I'm hot. And then, you know, and then it taps in like Fairuza Balk's character Nancy, who, you know, literally they say like, you know, she's trying to get out of being white trash. That's literally like a line that Rochelle says to Sarah's character, the one played by Robin Tunney, or Tunney, sorry. And you know, they provide a backstory to each character. It's not just like, oh, Fairuza Balk's just the badass, and oh, Neve Campbell's just the quiet basket case, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they actually, like, show you their kind of backstories for each one. Although I will say I wish they did show more for Rochelle, because they only just kind of get across, like, oh, they just, like, people are racist towards her. Like, I do wish they kind of delved more into her character a little bit more, but it was just nice that they actually took time to try to make you care and to give you more, you know, feel for it, our main, you know, cast. Yeah. For the movie, you know, and going forward again, you know, it's also like this really good movie that brings you not into the daily lives of these girls, but also like delves into the foundation of each witch. Like, so obviously, like, probably one of the most prominent scenes is like they go to a beach to do a seance, and each one brings a certain animal that represents them in a way.
Yeah.
So like Nancy's character, she brings like a snake, right? And then Nev Campbell's character, Bonnie, she brings like a butterfly. Rochelle, what did Rochelle bring? Rochelle brings a fish. She brings a goldfish, and then Sarah's character actually brings a bird with her, and like they all represent like forces of nature, like water, earth, fire, stuff like this, and they kind of just all show what they're wanting. So like Rochelle wants revenge on the people who've been racist towards her, So this girl like who says like these racist things like is really proud of her hair, so her hair starts to fall out, right? And then like so Bonnie is like, again, I already touched on it basically, where she gets rid of the scarring, and because she makes it known that like no boys find her cute, and now that the scarring's gone, she's like found this confidence, and she's like, now all the boys want to have sex with me and stuff, like I'm hot. And then even fucking Perugia's character Nancy, she eventually does end up getting out of like the trailer park and like stuff, gets to a better place in life with her mom. And so it kind of just delves into each foundation of all of them, and I like that. But during this time, because the missing piece to their group was Sarah, and then when Sarah finally moves to the town, and they, she joins them and starts hanging out with them, their spells start to work more efficiently. They start, they're able to complete these spells, and things start to happen for them, like I just mentioned. But because it's power corrupts, and you see our heroes kind of start to become more of like villainistic characters. So like Nev Campbell, she, or I shouldn't say Nev Campbell, sorry, Bonnie, she, is now more confident, so now she's like catcalling guys and just like smacking asses, right? And then like her and Sarah's character eventually get like one of the jocks to fall in love with Sarah and like follow her around like a puppy dog, and then again like they get and then Rochelle gets revenge on Christine Taylor's character, but she gets revenge, you know what I mean, like, and there's a point where like even Nancy kills someone just to get insurance money, and that wasn't like her clear intent, but she just wanted the person to die, basically. But you see this power start to corrupt them, where they want to do more things and be more powerful and change their appearance and, just basically boast the power they have. And so you see them transition to being more so villains and not as much as people trying to stand up for themselves. With that being said, I don't have a lot of cons, so I tried my best with this. So I got at least 3. I got 2 written down, one on top of my head. So one thing I will say that it's a really piss ass like kind of thing for me to be upset about, like, and I get that, but it's like there's too many montages in this movie. It's a 90s film.
That's all they were, montage. Couldn't be a montage.
Montage. But like it's like there's at least 2 or 3 montages in this entire movie, right? So like there's a montage of like the girls experimenting with their powers and hanging out, right? And then there's a like montage of them hanging out and getting more close and just like watching movies and like slumber parties and all that, all that fun stuff. And I'm just like, do we need a montage for each like thing? Like we kind of like we get it, like they're cool, whatever. Like,
need one for everything.
And so like I just
there's gonna be a montage of all of them in the grave too, where it's just like montage.
It's gonna be like a really like a really upkeep song. It's like whoa, God feel good.
And it's just them like coughing.
But it's just like I'm walking on sunshine. Oh. But and that's just a con I had. I mean, if you don't like overused montages, then maybe you're
not a 90s kid.
Maybe keep that in mind. But I'm just it's a weird thing for me to make a con, but it's my review, so
suck it.
And the CG in this movie is it's at best. Like it's not terrible, but it's not great. But you can tell there's CG. Like there's a point where like they're in the like this forest or the woods, and like these butterflies all come down to them, and you can tell like the butterflies aren't real. Like maybe some of them were, you know, or in one of the scenes, maybe if you know one of the scenes it was real, but it's like you can just tell it's fake.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, oh, okay, whatever. And I will say that the other con, I guess I kind of have to hold against it, is that if you're not a 90s baby, you're not into those 90s films, you know, this has a lot of like stereotypical high school 90s humor in
it. Yeah.
Like, so like a good point is like, so Breckin Meyer's in this movie, which I forgot about. But there's like a point where like Nancy, Bonnie, and Rochelle are walking through the hall, and they're just, and like Breckin Meyer is supposed to play the stereotypical like comedian jerk character, and he's just like, oh my gosh, hide away, if their eyes are gonna burn us, like doing pretend cross, like he's always supposed to be douchey,
yeah,
right? That's the point. But it's just like super stereotypical like 90s humor. Like, yeah. I'm not holding it against Breckin Meyer at all. Like it was the time. So if that's not really your spiel, your speed, I would stay away from that. Also, I do have a WTF for this movie is, so there's a point where Sarah and Chris, the jockey guy that she's kind of after in the beginning, somehow get on top of the roof of this building, and they're just there making out. And there's like no like explanation how they got out there, or if Chris works at that building and like he has a hatch up. They're just there drinking beer, and he's like, hey, you want to go to Pound Town at my place? And she's like, no, I run out, I'd rather just stay here. And he's like, oh, okay, maybe some other time, I guess. Like, and he's just like all fucking disappointed. I'm just like, how did you get on the roof? How did you get on the fucking roof? And I get it. Like, this
Spider-Man.
is like, well, this was like a 90s mainstay too. Like, there was always a hangout on a roof. Like, even in fucking Good Burger. Like, they hanged out on the goddamn roof. In fucking Clerks, they hanged out on the roof.
Yep.
Right? Fucking, and so, like, there's this, I don't know why, it just bothered me. I'm like, how do you get access to the fucking roof? Was that just the mainstay? Like, certain high school kids get access to certain roofs of certain buildings? Like, down the block is Good Burger, you know, Keenan and Kel fucking chilling on Good Burger's roof. And like, hey, everyone from the craft, how's it going? So...
We're good. We're about to do it. No, we're not.
No, we're not. No, there yet. No, we're so gonna do it. No, we're definitely not.
We're finally gonna pop that cherry. No,
definitely not. But
huge.
But the Craft is definitely like a hidden gem of horror movies, especially one that centers around witchcraft and witches. And this movie does take a lot of good time, and actually does like pay a lot of like respects to witchcraft, and you know, the knowings of and workings of witchcraft, and how Wiccans work. And it's a cool movie. It really is. And you know, despite all the 90s cheese, it's a great movie, and I enjoyed it. And almost anyone who does see this movie, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy getting into these characters and seeing how they interact with each other, and it's just fun, and it's a great witch horror movie, and you need to watch it. So some trivia. Robin Tunney wore an orange blonde wig throughout filming because she shaved her head for her role in Empire Records in 1995, which wrapped up a month before production started on this film. This one's going to be a long one, so bear with me. An official website of the film said the crew had to return to location a second time to complete filming, interrupted by several weird occurrences that even caused witch consultant Pat Devon to raise an eyebrow. As the fog rolled in at midnight, the four actresses used actual Wiccan rites and language to invoke powerful forces. Then, as Fairuza Balk's character Nancy attempts to invoke the deity Manon, a flock of bats hovered over the set, and the tide rose dramatically, extinguishing the circle of candles. Witchcraft consultant Devon recalls that Manon, a fictitious creation for the film, sounds very close to Mannanan, or Mannanan, the Gaelic god of the sea. Luckily, we weren't all swept to sea, is what he said. Director Andrew Fleming is quoted, every time the girls started at the ceremony, and only when they would start the ceremony, the waves would start coming up tremendously fast, pounding heavily. Then, right when Nancy says her line, Manon, feel me, right at that exact moment, we lost power. It was a very strange thing.
And then actress Fairuza Balk is actually a Wiccan in real life. Balk was also able to help the makers of the movie keep the storyline as realistic as they could. and was able to give them Wicca contacts to help them in areas they couldn't. Or she couldn't.
Oh, dope.
That's cool.
And then one scene involved using over 3,000 snakes, including pythons, boas, water snakes, garter snakes, rat snakes, and a 10-foot Amazon constrictor. Even rare albino snakes. So for all of our reptilian enthusiasts, this is your thing. And I think just probably one last one. While researching the craft, Ferrugia Balk became familiar with Panpipe's Magical Marketplace in Hollywood, eventually buying the store and continuing to operate it until 2001, when she sold it to, I think it's Jaime Darling and Vicky Adams, whom she had brought in as managers after her own purchase in 1995. That's dope.
Cool.
So, with that, listeners, we made good on our promise. You got now over an hour and 10 minutes of content of us bleeding our heart out, being sappy, talking about Rick and Morty, theories of how it's going to end, giving thanks to everyone. And I mean, thank you again for an amazing year of horror, an amazing year of comedy.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you all in January. Last thing we do want to talk about is our Patreon. So we did mention it that we did fix up our Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
We now have 4 tiers on there. And it goes $2, $4, $6, and $8 tiers. And our $2 tier, if you become a $2 a month supporter, you will get access to episodes before anyone else. If you become a $4 tier supporter, you will get first grab on all merch, which is pretty dope since we're getting really close to coming out with new merch. Or, not, I shouldn't say new merch, but our first merch.
Yeah, our first merch.
And then if you become a $6 supporter, you will get both those rewards, but also a 10% discount on all merch. So, thus, when we have specials and, like, limited editions, like, sales, like, if we already have something that's 5% off, you can include that 10% off and get a round up of 15% off on that item.
And then our $8 tier, you get all of that, and you actually get an episode. You get a whole episode that's actually done by Anna, who, as we've said before, has been doing who revamped our website and everything, has become part of a team, and she's going to be actually doing her own personal movie reviews.
It's going to be called Anna's Half Hour Power. It's going to be a half hour long episode only for our Patreon supporters.
Yeah, so you can't get them anywhere else unless you're an $8 Patreon supporter, and it's only going to be on Patreon.
I mean, maybe we'll drop the first episode to introduce it to everyone, but after that, you're only going to be able to access the content via our Patreon. So, and we talked long and hard about this because we did talk about, like, rewards that we think are fair and would be really cool. And, you know, we're already... The reason we, you know, basically felt like this is a good idea is that we're already coming out with 2 to 3 episodes every month for you guys, you know, and that's talking about, like, our band showcase episodes, when we talk about themes, and... You know, then,
so it's 4 to 5 episodes.
Well, and that's what I'm getting to. Is like when we initially come out with episodes every month, is we have 3, and then we have an extra 2 on. That's 5. So you get 5 episodes every month for us. But if you're an $8 a month supporter, you get 6. You get content. You get shit that you can listen to all the time, and you get just more great stuff from us. And so we really tried to make these rewards something that's beneficial, not just for you ghouls and gals, but that we can sit there and say, yeah, I would pay $8 for that, you know, or I'd pay $6 or $4 for that. So that, you know, feel free to reach out to us on there. Let us know how you like those rewards, and again, please go over to our Patreon and consider becoming a patron supporter for Punk Rock Horror Podcast. It's patreon.com/punkrockhorrorpodcast. The link to that is in our episode notes below. With that being said, if you want to keep up with everything that we're doing, please like us and follow us on Facebook at Punk Horror Podcast, or you can just search us up at Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or on our Twitter at official PHRP. PRHP. I did it! I fucked it up finally.
God.
At official PRHP. Or on our Instagram.
Punk Rock Horror Podcast. Hashtag PRHP Podcast.
And if you want to send us your strange stories, or to read on our Monday episodes, or you want to send in some band info to come on to our band showcase episodes to get interviewed, please send them to our email, punkrockhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Player FM, YouTube, our website, punkrockhorrorpodcast.com, which has a lot of great content on there. Please feel free to go check it out. Subscribe to our newsletter that's on there. And I feel like there's something else I'm missing. Is there anything I'm missing?
No. We'll see you guys next year.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next year. Thank you again for a great year. Ghouls and gals, please take care of each other. Please be safe. And as always, listen to punk rock, watch a horror movie, and podcast over.
Podcast over.
Bye.
Bye.